Good morning, Facebook world. This is Aaron, your member experience manager. Today I want to talk a little bit about program designs, the ins and the outs of how to create a very good program. I think it's very important to have a good structured program based upon your goals. So if it's weight loss, we have to design it a little bit different versus if we're doing more strength, hypertrophy meaning adding muscle. So all the design have to be very specific. Exercise order is critical for any workout program. Example of that would be doing a power cleans first, not last. If you're going to be running a marathon, it's still important that you incorporate some strength training within your programs. And then just having concrete ideas written down and having a good plan, because along the way you will make some modifications, whether that's sets, reps, if there's a potential injury. We need to look at all those things, and I think having an appropriate plan is a great starting point. So first, I would recommend writing down what your goals are, whether it's to lose 15 pounds, lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds. If you're trying to add 5 to 10 pounds of muscle mass, are you training for something specific like a sporting event? Is it a 5K? Is it a half marathon? And knowing what all entails with that event that you're shooting for, or if it's weight loss, you're getting ready for a wedding, and having a plan set up that way. Next is being honest with yourself and setting up what are your capabilities. All right, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Are your legs super strong? Does your upper body lack a little bit? Where are your kind of problem areas? Do you notice that you favor your right a little bit more than your left? Are you pretty symmetric with what you're doing within your training? Are you advanced? Are you intermediate? Are you a beginner? I think that is another critical part of designing a program. And every month we need to keep getting better at something. So this program that I'm looking at down below is when I was at the University of Alabama. It's called the Fourth Quarter Program. I'm not going to go too in depth. I just want to show the structure and why those athletes do very well in that system. So they have different tabs in here. It says nutrition. It says testing procedures. So a lot of the guys that are getting ready for the NFL, they'll do the combine. So they'll do 225 bench, the 40 time, vertical, all that. So it's appropriate to know what specific things that they're training for, because their training program has to correlate those type of movements within the training regimen. It also shows examples for different types of warm-ups, which is critical. Depending on the time of year, you need to be changing those intricately. But when I look at the structure of any program, I'm looking at a couple key areas. The exercise order is the first thing I'm looking at. So the first thing I see on here is a barbell warm-up. This is after their dynamic warm-up. So dynamic meaning moving in real space, not like a treadmill or a bike that's more stationary. Dynamic means using a lot of different parts of your body. So they'll start off with some barbell warm-ups, doing some hang cleans, front squat, and press. So that's prepping their central nervous system so that they're getting ready for a clean pull or a power clean or a split jerk. Anything from the floor is considered power. Anything from above the knee would be like the hang position. So if you're talking in Olympic terms, that's what that means. But I won't go too more in detail on that. Other things I look at, so after they do their cleans, they do their power cleans. In between all their sets, they're doing jump rope. And depending on the time of the year, it changes with volume-wise. But near when they're trying to peak, they're getting to probably close to 100 reps in between each set. So, for example, they have 4 sets of 5 for power clean, and then in between they have four sets of 30 seconds jump rope. If I were to fast forward probably 5-6 weeks, it turns into 5 sets of 60 seconds. So the volume increases. After that, they go into a little bit heavier back squats, which also includes some jump rope. And then for some of the skilled position players, they might do box jumps, because the linemen, it might not be as important for them to be able to jump very high. So when it comes to your program design, if you're not training for something that's going to be explosive, like where you would have to jump for a ball, unless it's like jumping for a volleyball and you're playing recreational, that's a little bit different. But for most general population, I think box jumps are important, but I don't think it's pivotal part of your program. But it all depends on your goals, so I don't want to rule that out either. Other things that they'll go into is so they'll go bench press and then military press. In between all the bench press, they're doing planks. The planks is anywhere from 5 rounds of 60 seconds. You can do a lot of different variations with your plank. You can go from the elbows, from the hands. You can shoulder tap, one hand on the ground. You can pick one leg off the ground, so you can advance that moving accordingly if it's getting easier. For most people, I'd probably start with 30 seconds and build your way up. Because if you're really truly engaging your glutes and your core, a plank should be very difficult in a good way, because you're squeezing so hard, you're squeezing your butt. So when it comes to planks, you want to look at tucking your chin, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, core engagement, glutes firing, hips down. That's a very good plank. So anyways, they're doing planks in between upper body movement, which makes the workout volume even more intense. And it's also considered active recovery. So in between, like when they do their back squats, they're doing jump rope. When they're doing bench, they're doing planks. So any type of active recovery modality that you have is important, because it's making more bang for your buck. It's making your time more valuable while you're here, and it's working on different parts of your body. Other things you can do for more simplicity's sake, you can grab a little stability round little disc or that blue pad that we have here, and bring your knee up, toe up. Can't really see me. I'd be standing up tall, and I'd be balancing on one leg for about 30 seconds, and then I'd be flip-flopping, or I can do that for a minute as well. So that's another form of active recovery. I can grab some resistance bands and do some pull-aparts. I can do raises, so that's another way of getting active recovery. And then it turns into like a military press with a side lunge or a box lunge. So we're working on smaller muscle groups now. So what I started with would be more complex movements. So using more muscle groups essentially. And then turning to it into single joint type movements, military press being right here. So I'm not using every part of my body, like a power clean or a back squat. And then they do a lot of glute ham raises, 4 sets of 10 with some leg curls and some wall sits. So that's a great trio right there. And then with a good finisher of 50 pull-ups, a lot of times they'll have resistance bands if they're a little bit like the bigger linemen, if they're kind of the mids, like a fullback, slot wide receivers, they might not need a thick resistance band. They might not need any. They can get all 50. So their goal is to get 50 total. If they can knock them all in one round, that's great. If it's 5 sets of 10, that's okay too. As long as they're getting good quality reps all the way up, all the way down. And then I think finishing with some type of ab circuit is a critical part. And then doing some hangs, so hanging from a bar, which helps decompress the spine. So that's a very thoughtful arrangement of how they design their program. And it works well for them. I'm not saying it'll work perfectly for you, because that volume is pretty intense for most people. That's about an 1.5 to 2 hour workout, and that includes different days they have running too with that. So with your program, I look at anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week doing a full body routine where you're getting most bang for your buck with your workouts. Another reason why I wanted to do this video is to kind of let you guys know, feel free to send me videos of you doing squats, bench press, any type of movement that you want more help with. I would be more than happy to help coach you up on some movements. I know there's a handful of guys that send me videos already to my personal Facebook page, which I have no problem with. I enjoy that type of thing with making adjustments, and so that, because I'm not always around in both clubs, so I think it's it's an important part that I can help serve our members at a very high level around the clock. Because I can always, throughout the day, look at my phone and see if you sent me a video of, all right, maybe your feet were a little bit too wide on your power clean. Maybe it's your shoulders aren't back. Maybe your knuckles aren't pointing towards the ground, which brings the bar close to your body. So there's a lot of little details I'm looking at for when I look at your movements. It's not for me to basically tear your workout apart. I want to help advance you so that you can go to those bigger numbers and excel long term. So if you guys ever would like to send me videos of what you're doing, feel free. I have no problem helping coach you up virtually. If you like any other assistance, feel free. You know where I'm at. You guys have a great rest of your day. Hope this video helps you all.